Hi, welcome to another Artist Diaries. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. Normally you would see lots of behind the scenes and you would see what's going on for me during the day or the week or the month, and I would talk you through some projects that I'm working on. But this video, it's going to be a bit of a vulnerable video, but I feel like it's time for me to be really honest about where things are at in my business at the moment. I am going through a really rough patch in my business, and predominantly the reason that things aren't going so well is me. There are other outside factors, but I am the main reason that things are not going so well at the moment. So what I wanted to do with this video is for it to be a bit of a visual journal so that I can look back on how things were and see if things have changed, if they've improved, how quickly they improved, things like that. And to also show that, there are ups and downs in business all the time, and things aren't always puppy dogs and rainbows. And I really am going through a tough time at the moment, and I want to get back to those puppy dogs and rainbows. So I think by being brutally honest about where things are at, I can move forward with all of that. My name's Leanne. I am a full-time artist and metalsmith. I have a business called Leanne Ellison Designs, where I sell my art and my jewellery. So I'm a watercolourist. And just brutal honesty here, things are not going well for me. For about the past 10 plus years, I have been suffering from headaches. I had managed to work around them, and I had a bit of a routine and things like that. And then for the past 5 years, those headaches have become chronic. So I was still able to work around them, but not as easily. And then for the last 18 months or so, these headaches have become debilitating to the point where they have massively impacted my ability to work consistently in my business. Around about the 18-month mark ago, I made a pivot in my business. I stopped making sterling silver jewellery because I really wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I pivoted to creating art again and to making jewellery that was kind of more bright and bold and colourful. Now, when it comes to the jewellery, I made a big mistake last year. I put all of my eggs into one basket, and basically the basket had a hole in it. So I'll talk about that a bit later. But one of the things that has happened as a result of these headaches is that my mindset has taken an absolute beating. Just my mindset and my money mindset, because I'm a product-based creator, and I've created this belief that if I'm not physically making, then I'm not earning. Now that is true, fair enough, except I've taken it way further than that. Instead of just going, okay, how do I fix this? I have just fully internalized the identity of being a starving artist with a health condition. And that has derailed me. It really has. And even though I have recently started a treatment for my headaches, which is actually working, like finally, after years and years and years, I'm finally found a treatment that feels like it is working. My brain is still clinging to that old story like it's fact. It's like, yep, starving artist with a health condition. Yep, that's what you are. And I can see now that I've built a direct link between my health and my income. And it's been keeping me stuck. It's been keeping me small. And honestly, I'm feeling a bit defeated because of it. My health has impacted my business. Also, the economy has impacted sales. That is all true. But I don't want to hide behind that either, because there's also decisions that I've made that haven't helped me. And that's the eggs in one basket thing. But hiding behind that isn't helping me to make better decisions. It isn't helping me to work out how to move forward in my business and how to go about improving things. Long story short, if that is at all possible at this point, my headaches have meant that I haven't been able to work as much as I would like to and need to. part of the problem is that I then went, okay, I need money. And I thought maybe I can go outside of my business to make money. So instead of focusing on what was going on within my business and trying to make tweaks there, I thought, oh, maybe I can go outside of it. But the problem for me is that my headaches are so unpredictable that it makes me unreliable. I can't predict when I'm going to have a headache. I can't just pop in my diary, next Tuesday, headache all day, can't work. So working for somebody else is just impossible. I would have too many days off, that sort of thing. I think what happened was a lot of people that I knew, a lot of makers that I knew, were actually going outside of their businesses to make money. I had a friend who, she's been doing some gardening. Another one has been doing some cleaning. So for me, I thought that's where my extra income needs to come from, instead of actually looking at my business and working out what I could do differently. And I just sat with that whole starving artist thing. I just sat with that identity. And I've realized now that I did take it way too far. I have internalized that so much that I believe it. To me, it's a fact. And I need to do a lot of work around that and get that crap out of my head. So I'm going to own a decision that I made last year, which was really, really poor decision. Now, I know better than to do this. I have been running a business for long enough now that I know that I should not have done it, and I did it anyway. And I think part of the problem is that I was kind of egged on by other people. Egged on, eggs in one basket. So basically last year, all the eggs went into this one basket. I focused almost entirely on making jewelry for a big makers market. And I stopped creating my art. I also, during that period of time, I just head down, bum up, making this jewelry. I didn't think about promoting it outside of this market and trying to sell a few pieces in the lead up. I didn't think about, creating some art to at least keep the business ticking over. I had a few things that had sold, a few of my older pieces, and that was what was keeping me going while I put all of my energy into this one thing. Anyway, turns out the market wasn't great. The foot traffic was really low, and pretty much everyone there didn't really make much money. And that was in October. So that kind of broke me, and I thought, I've ruined my business, I've done the wrong thing, and I held on to that for a really long time too. Instead of forgiving myself and letting it go, I just kept hanging on to it. Look what you've done, Leanne, look what you've done. And now I'm at that point where I know that I made that mistake, and I admit that I made that mistake, and I need to look forward and go, okay, don't make it again. But what changes are you going to make? So I then did another small market at a primary school in November. And from those two markets, I learned a number of things. First of all, from the big makers market, I realized that I need to have my art alongside my jewelry. It helps to give a cohesive kind of collection, to also have cards and prints and stickers and original art and jewelry, so that I've got lots of different price points. Because some people love my cards and they love my jewelry, but at the moment they can only afford a card. I know that the economy isn't great, but there are people that are still spending. So, kind of meet them where they're at and have lots of different things available, within my cohesive range. Another thing I learned was that all of my jewelry is for women 50 plus. The people that I've sold it to have either been women over 50 or people buying for women over 50. There have only been two exceptions, and that was a primary school teacher and a kindergarten teacher, or was it a kindergarten teacher and a daycare centre worker who bought bright Christmas earrings so that they could wear them for the kids. Other than those two, everyone else has been over 50. So I realized that that's where my target market is. And I really need to focus on those people. I need to find my over 50 women and people like me who love bright, bold, colorful jewelry. So I need to run with that and yeah, just really appeal to those women. My art appeals to different people, but yeah, the jewelry, I've really learned that it is for women over 50. And also, people prefer to buy my jewelry in person. So I've realized I need to do more markets. They want to touch the jewelry, they want to try it on, they want to see the scale of it. That all matters. So it's important for me to, again, meet them where they're at. So take it out to markets so that they can try it on, they can touch it, they can do all of the things that they need to do to actually want to buy. I have realized that basically online has not been great for my jewelry. My art does okay, but my jewelry, it's not where people are buying it. So I can have it online and I will get a few sales here and there, but markets are really where it's at when it comes to my jewelry. I know that the big makers market probably wasn't a great decision for me. I think it was maybe that particular market. So I need to look at different ones. The primary school market went really well. I had people buying lots of different things. So I sold bits of everything, which was great. Another thing I realized is that I'm not consistent enough with social media or marketing, especially when my headaches flare up. The last place you want to be is social media when you're not feeling very well. And I really realized that I don't actually love it. Like, I don't love the energy. It really drains me. And that's been a big reason that I've avoided showing up. And that's not helpful. I need to work around that somehow. I love YouTube. I love long form video. I love chatting and showing behind the scenes and all of that sort of stuff. I just don't like the energy around the other social media platforms. I've also realized that I need lots of different income streams that don't rely on me physically making something every single day. That's where I was at with my jewelry. I would have to make to sell. With my art, I love painting, so I'm happy to paint when I am well and I can sort of fit things in, and that's great. But I need other income streams, and I had kind of put off doing those because I felt like I had to work on things. So I had to make new stuff and I had to keep making new stuff. One saving grace from the makers market was that I did walk away with a ton of jewelry. That meant that I had enough to see me through Christmas, and I've still got plenty now. So I don't have to make any jewelry for a while. I can just market what I've got. I do have some cards that I've already made, so I need to market those. I need to take some of my original art and scan it. Now that I've got a new scanner, my scanner died and I was without a scanner for a while. So now that I've got a new one, I need to look at scanning some of that original art and creating different products. I can lean into some print on demand for things like prints and cards, because tariffs have been a big issue. Sending stuff to the US, it has just cut out my entire US market. So jewelry will be off the table, but you know, there are plenty of things that I can do as print on demand. I don't want to get to the point where I'm just a big print on demand business. That's not what I'm aiming for. It's just having things like prints and cards available for people that live in different countries. I need to get out of this stuckness. So instead of just sitting in all of this and feeling stuck, I'm choosing to see it all as information. So like, this is actually really valuable data, like really, really valuable data about how I work, what I need, and what's not working. I have to acknowledge that the headaches are debilitating and that I am struggling, but I really need to learn how to work around them again. I think what happened before was that I had learned to work around them, and then the circumstances of the headaches changed, and I just fell in a heap. And I didn't know what to do. And I just felt as though I had hit rock bottom. There were a number of times that I was just going to burn my business to the ground. I really felt as though I just couldn't do it anymore. Thankfully, Doug was right there beside me going, no, you can do this, Leanne. It's going to be fine. You can get through this. But yeah, I almost burned it to the ground. And I'm glad I didn't, because I really love what I do. And I think at the moment, as I said, I can't work for anybody else. I did manage to get some tiny bits of work here and there. Just casual work, a half hour here and an hour there. But, that's time that I probably could have spent on my business. It did come in handy, the money, because it helped me to pay my bills. But the time I spend looking for a job that I'm not going to be able to take because, my headaches are so unpredictable, I can put that effort into creating stuff within my business. And I think the whole thing just frightened me. I just kept thinking, well, I need to earn money. And the only way I can think of is to go outside of my business, because I was so in the thick of it. I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I was just sitting there going, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. What am I going to do? And it wasn't until I finally stopped and I analysed and I realised that I was stuck and that I needed to make a shift, that I could see things from a different perspective. So yeah, basically I need to change. I am the reason my business is struggling. I accept that. I know that I have a health condition that is impacting how things work for me, and I need to stop making that my identity. I need to stop believing that that's who I am and that I can work around this and it is going to be okay. I know I need to change how I'm doing things. I know that I need to create multiple income streams. I wrote and illustrated a children's book before Christmas, and I loved and hated it at the time. Now I am super proud of it, and I am itching to create another one. So I need to make time to be able to do things like that. I need to open myself up to different opportunities. Earlier this year, I put my first 2 art pieces into an exhibition at a local gallery, and I sold one of those pieces. So it's about looking for different opportunities, looking for different ways for me to make income. I need to build a business that supports me, even on the days that I can't show up 100%. And there are days that I can't show up at all. And that has been the case before, but I think I've forgotten that. And I've just been trying to push myself to work. I sometimes have to accept that there are days I can't. I'm just not well enough. So build a business that can still run when I'm not there. I just also want you to know that if you are someone that is navigating health stuff like I am, or just feeling stuck in your business, questioning everything, even just a tiny bit right now, you're definitely not alone. There are plenty of us out there that are dealing with stuff at the moment. There are plenty of people that are just struggling because of the economy. And I just want you to know that it's going to be okay. I think this is just one of those seasons where things are shifting, and I'm just trying to be honest about that and how things are going for me. I'm looking for those puppy dogs and rainbows. They're going to come back. I've promised myself they're going to come back. So I'm not blaming myself anymore. I had been for a while. I'm reflecting on what I have done and what I need to do better. I reflected on that eggs in one basket thing, and the fact that the basket had a massive hole in it, all the eggs fell out. I know that that was the wrong thing. I'm not mad at myself anymore. I'm not blaming myself anymore. I'm just at peace with it, and I'm reflecting on that. I'm not collapsing. I am recalibrating. I am letting myself know that I just need to make a few adjustments. I need to make a few pivots and turns. And I'm finally at that point where I'm not pretending that everything is fine. Actually, I don't know that I ever was. I think I knew that things were bad. But, you know, I know that there are a lot of people out there who are pretending that everything is fine. And by doing this, I'm kind of showing the process that I'm going through to make those changes, and just admitting that things are not going great and I need to make adjustments. I've got plenty of maker friends that are doing really, really well at the moment. But yeah, for me, things have been tough. Things have been hard because my health has had an impact that I wasn't able to kind of work around until I sat down and really looked at how I could do things differently. So I know now that my business needs to run in a different way. I need to make different products. I need to have different streams of income. I can't just rely on original art and jewelry, because that is labor intensive, and there are times where I'm just not well enough to make that stuff. So I need to have other things that can sell, that are either much easier to produce. I can have them produced by somebody else and then just ship them out, or they can be online things, so digital products and print on demand pieces, because basically I penned myself in and I made it worse. As my headaches got worse, I made everything else worse. So yeah, I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck. I am in the middle of a rewrite. That's how I feel now. And I feel optimistic. I feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that this rewrite, it's a very different place to be. And I'm loving that. I'm loving the energy of it. I'm just loving the opportunities that I want to seek, the doors I want to open, the things that I would like to do. I've got some ideas. I've probably got too many ideas. I need to do what Tash Corbin calls the toy box, and that's write down, I think it's 3 ideas that I want to run with now, and put all of the other ideas into the toy box. So I'm not trying to do everything all at once, but, focus on 1 or 2 things and get those going before I start on anything else. But most of all, it needs to be cohesive. It needs to work with my art, my business, my ideals. It needs to flow with all of that and not be something that sticks out and is odd. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So basically this video was about having a balance of real life and reflectiveness and forward moving momentum. Not here are my excuses, this is my excuse, but it's more about here's what's been true and here's what I'm doing with that truth. So yeah. Okay, this was pretty raw, pretty vulnerable. It's hard to admit that things aren't going well for you. I know that a lot of videos out there are just focusing on how fantastic things are. People are showing their income. I haven't had a lot of income, so it's very difficult for me to show you what I haven't earned. Well, it's easy for me to show you what I haven't earned. It's just hard for me to say, here you go, look, here's a big fat 0 for the month, because I wasn't well. So yeah, these are all things that I've known, but obviously I didn't know how to put them into practice while I was feeling like poo. I'm now at that point where I'm having a few more good days than bad, which is great. Hopefully that continues. I don't want to jinx it, but things seem to be going okay. So if I can get the headaches down from, at the moment I am having 25 plus days per month with a headache. If I can get that down to even just 5, that would be perfect, because it will give me a lot more days to actually create things and set those other income streams into motion. So yeah. I don't know if there's anything in this video that is of any use to you. If there is, please take what serves you, leave the rest. I know that for some people, it's just comforting to know that somebody else is doing it a little bit tough too. And I know that I need to do a lot of work on my mindset. And I also know that having reflected on everything, I kind of know the paths that I would like to take going forward. So I'll keep you updated. I will show you the things that I am working on. I do have my own exhibition coming up in August. I've got an entire gallery room that will be mine for the month of August. I'm also going to submit a piece for an exhibition in May. The exhibition is called Dreamweaver. I want to get another book done. I've got some other ideas that I want to work on, and I know that I need to get a lot of like cards and things like that done, so that I have got some smaller priced items out there. So yeah, all right, wish me luck, because part of me feels like I need it, and part of me feels like I have this renewed enthusiasm, and I know that I'm going to make it and things are going to be okay. So that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been a little bit of a tough one for me, but I needed it out. Better out than in. Better out than in. All right. I am going to go and do tons of stuff while I am feeling okay. And I promise I will keep you updated, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye for now.